Hello, and today I'm going to be doing Cashflow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. Find your passion. Do you really want to move forward? Asked Rich Dad. Yes, I said hurriedly. Have you forgotten what you set out to do? Have you forgotten about your passion and what caused you to get into this predicament in the first place? Asked Rich Dad. Oh, I replied, a little startled. I had forgotten. I stood there at the payphone, clearing my head so I could remember what had got me into this mess in the first place. I knew it, said Rich Dad, his voice booming over the phone. You're more worried about your own personal survival than keeping your dream alive. Your fear has pushed aside your passion. The best way to keep going is to keep the flame in your heart alive. Always remember what you set out to do, and the trip will be easy. Start worrying more about yourself, and your fear begins to eat away at your soul. Passion builds business, and not fear. You've come this far. You're close, so don't turn back now. Remember what you set out to do. Keep that memory in your heart and keep the flame going. You can always quit, so why quit now? With that, Rich Dad wished me luck and hung up the phone. He was correct. I had forgotten why I set out on this journey. I had lost my dream and allowed my fears to fill my head as well as my heart. I had forgotten my passion. It's now time to make it happen or go back home and forget about it. I stood there for a while, and again I heard Rich Dad's last words. You can always quit, so I quit now. I decided to delay quitting until I made things happen. Becoming a teacher who owned the system. My fears and lack of success were beating me, and my dream had been pushed aside. My dream was to create a different kind of school system, an educational program for people who want to become entrepreneurs and investors. As I stood there, my mind drifted back to high school. When I was 15, my high school guidance counselor asked me, what are you going to do when you grow up? Are you going to become a teacher like your dad? Looking straight at my counselor, my answer was straightforward, strong, and filled with conviction. I'll never be a teacher. Becoming a teacher is the last thing I would ever do. I didn't just dislike school. I hated it. I absolutely hated being forced to sit and listen to someone I didn't particularly like or respect speak for months on a subject I had no interest in. I fidgeted, squirmed, caused problems in the back of the room, or simply skipped class. So when my guidance counselor asked me if I was planning to seek a career as a teacher following in my father's footsteps, I nearly jumped out of my skin. Little did I know at that time that passion is a combination of love and hate. I loved learning, but I hated school. I absolutely detested sitting there and being programmed and becoming something I did not want to be. I was not alone. Notable quotes on education. Winston Churchill once said, "Personally, I am always ready to learn, although I do not always like being taught." John Updike said, "The Founding Fathers, in their wisdom, decided that children were an unnatural strain on their parents, so they provided jails called school, equipped with some torturous called education." Norman Douglas said, "Education is the state-controlled manufacture of echoes." H.L. Mencken said, "School days, I believe, are the unhappiest in the whole span of human existence. They are full of dull, unintelligible tasks, new and unpleasant ordinances, and brutal violations of common sense and common decency." Galileo said, "You cannot teach a person anything. You can only help him find it within himself." Mark Twain said, "I never let schooling interfere with my education." Albert Einstein said, "There's too much education altogether, especially in American schools." A gift from my educated dad. The person who shared these quotes with me was my highly educated but poor dad. He also despised the school system, although he thrived in it. He became a teacher because he also dreamed of changing the system, but instead the system crushed him. He took his passion, tried to change the system, and ran into a brick wall. It was a system that too many people were making money in, and no one wanted it changed, although there is a lot of talk about the need for change. Maybe my guidance counselor was psychic because years later, I did indeed follow in my father's footsteps. I just didn't follow him in the same system. I was taking that same passion and creating my own system. When my educated dad learned that Kim and I were struggling financially, doing our best to set up our own educational system, he sent us those quotes. Scribbled across the top of the page at the quotes were these words: "Keep going. Love, Dad." Up until that moment, I never knew how much my educated dad hated the system and what it did to young people. But after this gesture of encouragement, things began to make sense. The passion that was driving me was the same passion that had driven him years earlier. I was just like my real dad. I'd unwittingly picked up the torch from him. I was a teacher at the core. Maybe that's why I hated the system so much. In hindsight, I'd become both dads. From my rich dad, I learned the secrets of becoming a capitalist. From my highly educated dad, I inherited the passion for teaching. With this combination, I can now do something about the educational system. I didn't have the desire or ability to change the current system, but I did have the knowledge to create my own system. Okay, I hope you liked that. If you did, please like and subscribe. Bye!